I think most people have completely misunderstood what Stoicism is. When people hear the word, they imagine some guy sitting on a mountain with absolutely no emotions, staring into the distance while his entire life falls apart around him. Someone cheats on him. Nothing. Someone insults him. Nothing. His house burns down. He just nods and says, "It is what it is." And honestly, if that's your definition of Stoicism, you miss the point. Stoicism isn't about becoming emotionless. It's about becoming harder to control. There's a difference. Because here's something nobody likes hearing: you don't control nearly as much of your life as you think you do. You don't control what people think about you. You don't control whether someone likes you. You don't control whether someone rejects you. You don't control whether your plans work. You don't control the economy, the weather, traffic, your past, other people's decisions, or whether somebody wakes up one morning and decides they don't like you anymore. Yet somehow, we spend an enormous amount of energy trying to control all of it. Someone leaves you on read, and suddenly you're analyzing the conversation from 3 days ago. Did I say something wrong? Someone criticizes your work, and you spend the entire night thinking about it. Someone succeeds before you, and suddenly you're questioning your entire life. Something goes wrong, and instead of asking, "What can I do now?" you ask, "Why is this happening to me?" That's the trap. You're fighting reality, and reality has never lost that fight. Stoicism starts with a brutally simple idea: separate what you can control from what you can't. Your actions, yours. Your choices, yours. Your effort, mostly yours. Your attitude toward what happens, yours. Other people's opinions, not yours. The outcome, not completely yours. The past, definitely not yours. And yet people constantly hand their peace over to things they have absolutely no authority over. Imagine giving someone else the remote control to your mood and then getting angry because they keep pressing random buttons. That's basically how most people live. Someone says something rude, and they control your entire afternoon. Someone doesn't respond to your message, and they control your evening. Someone criticizes you, and they control your confidence. Stoicism says, why are you giving them that power? You can't stop someone from insulting you, but you can decide whether their opinion deserves a place in your head. You can't stop someone from rejecting you, but you can decide what you do next. You can't prevent failure, but you can decide whether failure becomes an excuse or information. And that's where Stoicism becomes useful, not because it makes life easier. It doesn't. It makes you better at dealing with the fact that life isn't going to cooperate with you. And I think that's what people misunderstand about acceptance. They think accepting something means you approve of it. It doesn't. If someone treats you badly, accepting reality doesn't mean staying around and letting them continue. It means acknowledging that it happened instead of wasting energy wishing reality had been different. You can leave. You can fight back. You can set a boundary. You can change your situation. But you do those things from reality, not from denial, because you can't solve a problem you refuse to admit exists. Imagine you're driving somewhere and you take the wrong road. You can sit in the car screaming, "I shouldn't be here," for the next hour. It won't change your location. You have to accept that you're on the wrong road before you can turn around. Life works the same way. You lost the opportunity. You got rejected. You failed the exam. The relationship ended. The money disappeared. You made a stupid decision. Fine, it happened. Now what? That's a much more powerful question than why me? And here's another uncomfortable part of Stoicism. It asks you to stop expecting life to be fair. Not because life is cruel, but because fairness was never guaranteed. You can do everything right and still lose. You can work hard and still fail. You can treat someone well and still get hurt by them. You can be prepared and still get unlucky. That's not necessarily a sign that you did something wrong. Sometimes things just happen. And if your entire mental stability depends on life going according to your expectations, you're going to be miserable. Because life is incredibly bad at following scripts. Stoicism doesn't tell you to expect the worst because you should be pessimistic. It teaches you to remember that the things you love are temporary. Your health, your money, your relationships, your reputation, your youth, even your life. That's uncomfortable to think about, but there's a strange benefit to it. When you understand that something isn't guaranteed forever, you appreciate it differently. You stop treating ordinary things like they are permanent. A conversation with someone you love becomes more valuable. A normal morning becomes something worth noticing. Even failure becomes less terrifying because you understand that nothing stays fixed forever. And then there's the idea of negative visualization, which sounds miserable until you understand why it's useful. Imagine losing something you currently take for granted, not because you want it to happen, because you want to understand its value while you still have it. Your friends won't always be around. Your parents won't always be here. Your body won't always be this strong. Your current opportunities won't last forever. That's not supposed to make you depressed. It's supposed to wake you up, because sometimes you don't appreciate something until you imagine life without it. And I think that's one of the most powerful parts of Stoicism. It doesn't tell you to stop caring. It tells you to care without becoming completely dependent on the thing you're caring about. Because there's a difference between loving something and believing you cannot survive without it. You can love someone deeply without making their approval the foundation of your identity. You can want success without believing failure makes you worthless. You can want money without letting your bank balance decide whether you're a good person. You can care about what people think without allowing their opinions to control your behavior. That's emotional strength, not having no emotions, having emotions without being owned by them. And honestly, I think that's what a lot of people are actually looking for when they say they want confidence. They don't necessarily want to feel amazing all the time. They want to know that if something goes wrong, they'll be okay. That's what Stoicism gives you, not a guarantee that nothing bad will happen, a belief that you'll be able to deal with it when it does. And that changes how you approach fear. You stop asking, what if this goes wrong? And start asking, if it does go wrong, what will I do? That's a completely different mindset. The first question creates anxiety because you're imagining an outcome you can't control. The second creates responsibility because you're focusing on your response. And that's really the heart of Stoicism. Control what you can, accept what you can't, act according to your values. Don't let temporary emotions make permanent decisions. Don't let someone else's behavior determine your character. And don't confuse comfort with a good life. Because sometimes the thing you need most is exactly the thing you don't want to do. Have the difficult conversation. Admit you were wrong. Walk away from something unhealthy. Start again after failing. Keep going when nobody notices. Stoicism isn't about avoiding pain. It's about refusing to let pain decide who you become. And maybe that's why the philosophy is still relevant thousands of years later. The technology changed. The clothes changed. The problems changed. But human beings are still getting rejected, still comparing themselves to other people, still worrying about the future, still obsessing over things they can't control, still trying to make life behave exactly how they want it to. We just have faster internet now. That's basically the only upgrade. So the next time something goes wrong, try asking yourself one question before reacting. Is this within my control? If it is, do something about it. If it isn't, stop fighting it. Not because you don't care, because your energy is worth more than that. You don't control what happens to you. You control what happens next. And maybe that's enough control to build a good life.